Hello there, environmental specialists. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Dino Armageddon. Episode 3, Cleaning Up Air and Water. Alright, I don't have any research primed. Is there research I need for this setup? I don't believe so. I'm going to do artistic expression for a little bit more decor. And then the construction tasks here we'll just put to 6. Not that I have other construction tasks. But just raising the priority a little bit. I'm gonna get rid of this lum. I don't know what he's eating for the peat, but given that he's access to all this stuff, I want to get rid of him anyway. So I've got some polluted dirt. And I do have an outhouse out of order. And the polluted dirt is only going to be manageable if we get the compost going. Oh, there we go. So we're getting some... So we'll have some polluted oxygen here. That'll be fixed once we're not using outhouses, but... we're getting pretty close to this setup being done. And the last of the stuff that needs to be removed out of the water pool is gone. Awesome. Carbon dioxide is pooling. I did mention that I wasn't planning on putting the carbon filter until like a level down here. So I'm going to include a ladder that descends. The plan is to then have some sort of like suit lock here to do the exploring. But I want to lower the level. I missed 2 spots of dirt in the room in this room. In which room? Oh, these dirt. Yeah, we can't get through there. I see what you're saying. Unreachable. Alright, now the liquid reservoir is filling up, and the showers are sort of in service. Yeah, you said dirt. This is shale. That's what threw me. I was like, dirt? Where's dirt? Oh, well, yeah, we can... Yeah, okay. And then we do have polluted water. So I don't have a method to dump polluted water yet. One thing I could do is to build in a polluted water intentional dump down here. Where we have like a bottle emptier going to a pit. So that we have a method to get rid of polluted water and filter it back into the system. Given that it's going to be stinky, I'll enclose it into walls too. All right, printable. What is going to be printed? Joya seeds. Oh, nice. Alright, I'm disabling the liquid pump for now. That's probably enough fresh water primed into the system. And I'm going to trim up some of the commonly used areas, just so they look a bit nicer. Hey, showered. That might be our first shower. So in this liquid reservoir, we've got polluted water, germy polluted water. And that's what this water sieve is for. also don't have any filtration medium. You can make filtration medium with a rock smasher or to like mine out sand. There is sand not too far away as a filtration medium. But I you know, if some polluted oxygen gets in for some yucky lungs, it doesn't really matter because of morale. I mean, we've, what, 22? Like, I don't need to worry about that. Okay, I don't have a research priority at the moment. Let's see. Some basic automation wires is always nice to have. And then I'll think about what the next project is and what research is required to get there. Now, the other reason to get sand is we're not going to be able to sieve the water, but one of the reasons why I don't really care, because we can just pool pea water into this liquid reservoir for a while before it really needs to become urgent. So it's not really a problem to have like a backup of pea water. And then the idea here is, let's use a bridge to direct it back into the liquid tank. And now that we have a compost in here, the designated area for it, I can get rid of the other compost and phase that out. All right, our kcal problem should be going away pretty soon. Now that we have an active pollinator within our farm. Cheers, by the way. And then we have most of the structure that needs to be done built here. So Macho should be done with this in about a cycle or two, I would say. I'll probably stop researching. Well, let's get sound amp. Nah. I'm gonna stop researching for a little bit so that Shield can help to supply and tidy. There isn't really any research that I urgently need. Brute force for the sand might be nice, but because there is, like I said, sand pretty close by, able to be mined, it's far less of a concern. If I was in a situation where I urgently needed sand, crushing shale up to sand would make sense, but it's not a problem. Oh, he's making trim. I was like, where is Macho? Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a nice room. Much higher decor. For the cheap, because it's just like shale trim. It's probably not worth the manual labor to do, but I'm doing it all the same. I do see that our free oxalate supply is running low. One thing I can do is just to mine up to this level. There's a lot of oxalate and high pressure oxygen here. And then there's some here as well. It's not that I can't afford the power requirements for it. I'm pushing the dial back further when I have to care about diffusers. I will, however, have Macho finish the bathroom before he starts mining for oxygen, because it's not like we're suffocating or anything like that. It's funny, I don't even have any refined nickel. It's like, yeah, we have automation wires that we don't know how to make. All right, this has no liquid output, but the liquid output for this is going to be the intake for here. Because once it's filtered, I don't really care about the germs. Oops, wrong direction. This will then go right back into the liquid reservoir tank, which we know will be germy clean water. Because the concept of polluted water is like urine or poo, and germs are separate. So, like this liquid reservoir has both pollution. It's both polluted and germy, but you can be polluted, not germy, germy, not polluted, or neither, which is clean. And we're not making an effort to like remove germs. Alright, if I did want filtration medium, I think what I want to do is to work on the area that will have the airlock and then set up a liquid lock where the airlock is going to go. And then mine my way to sand without having to... I don't want to tap any hydrogen gas or anything like that. But on the other hand, it's going to be on the other side of the liquid lock, so it won't matter all that much. Alright, and that obviously is not going to work until the filtration medium is supplied. But I'm not worried about that either, because we have 5,000 kilogram storage space for it. How's our attributes coming? So morale is awesome. And everyone's like sitting at like skill 2 or 3 for their main used skills, which is decent. During the night would have been the best time to go after the lum. He's gonna get a little injured, but there we go. I just got rid of him so he wouldn't stop nibbling on the sweat corn. This lum I'm just gonna like build out. Wall up. Okay, bottle emptier. We're gonna put polluted water here. Dump it in this little... Oh, okay, I have to kill you then. Be gone. You fell into the hole. So, bottling the pea water. Which, once the bathroom is all set up, I shouldn't have too much pea water that needs to be manually filtered. Now, the other thing is, I don't have... One thing that I might want to incorporate on the end of this, if we're going into this room and potentially getting gross, because, like, Macho, for instance, just got gross, is to put a sink here. It wouldn't hurt to have, like, an extra sink just so that we can... Actually, he's not germy. Is he germy? No, he's not germy. I guess the pea water that we dumped there wasn't germy water, which... honestly doesn't even make sense to me, but whatever. I'm not gonna think about that too hard. So there we go. That's most of the filtration room. I'm going to sweep the stuff up that's going to be in the pea water puddle right now. And then let's phase out one outhouse and start incorporating actual plumbing. So, laboratory. Eventually. Well, I guess he's busy. Oh, I think he's sweeping. Doing exactly what I told him to do, because that's what a good dupe does. Raising the priorities of the water filter system slightly higher, so that we attend to it with greater than average urgency. There we go. Lavatory going in. And we'll hook it up same way. And once that's built, we'll do the other, we'll do a sink basin and the other laboratory, so on and so forth. But now we have somewhere to put the dirty... Oh, this is already out of order. Shoot. Gonna make that an emergency. Just so we don't have any accidents. Because accidents would be annoying. Hatchling. That's weird. I don't intend to, like... This map tile doesn't have any natural coal. So I'm just gonna reject all. And because... I mean, I could have, like, killed it for, like, meat or whatever, but it's meat that was almost certainly just gonna spoil. Because it doesn't have any natural coal, I don't have a lot of uses for coal. So I'm not gonna worry about that, because that would just introduce another resource that I don't really have the capacity to use or rely upon. Alright, lavatory is ready. This thing's out of order, but I'm just gonna, like, destroy it. And then let's sweep at 9 the polluted water so it stops farting out and making things nasty around here. And we'll do the same for the polluted dirt. And after that, we'll do sink. Looking good. Breathability is sitting at about 60%. So I'll continue the project where we just, like, hit this oxalite node. With that said, I'll probably need a diffuser anyway, just because it's, you know, getting a little thin. So I'll stick a diffuser kind of in the middle of the base. Because we wouldn't want it to get so thin that, like, crops stop growing. That would be a problem. And one thing I want to do is track my algae. I also want to track my nickel. And track peat. All three are, like, strategic resources I wouldn't want to run out on. Algae meaning I'd run out of oxygen. Peat, I'm running out of consumable ore in air quotes. And nickel, running out of raw metals. And refined nickel eventually I'll track as well. Alright, construction tasks, 7. Macho, you should be working on those once you're done. Actually, he's about to sleep. So now we're just tidying up the farms, that's fine. It's one of those tasks that's like a forever task because the amount of sweat corn seeds we get out of here is ridiculous, but at least we can, like, tidy up some of the basic stuff so it's not constantly, like, full of junk. Not cluttered, so to speak. But our kcals are holding. It doesn't look like we're gonna have any, like, real food problems. Which is good. We averted that crisis. Not that it was much of a crisis. So the next thing I'm gonna want to solve after the washroom is oxygen. Right? Make sure that we have, you know, the carbon dioxide getting filtered out. So I'm planning on having an airlock here, which eventually will be our suit dock, or like a liquid lock incorporated into a suit dock, so that we can explore the outside areas beyond here. And then have a carbon pooling area down here where we filter out the carbon that has accumulated in our base. That way breathability goes back up. I mean, it's already sitting at like 80%, up from like 64%, which was yesterday. If we click on the... If we graph it, it will tell us... where's the... Why am I blanking on where the graph is? Here it is. Breathability. I thought breathability was in here. Well, you can see oxygen produced has obviously gone up for the first time ever. Needless to say, it's far less a worry now than it was before. Let's also set the farm's harvest to a 6. Because, you know, food is kind of important. Cool. So we got 2 lavatories, and now we just need to phase out the last wash basin, and that will be done. And the direction here will be to the right. So he's almost done with that. There we go. Royal flush. Because this is now officially a washroom. Okay. Done. So now that the washroom is done, we want to set up CO2 filtering. And what that's going to look like, as I said, is we'll have a checkpoint here. We'll just put a checkpoint right there. I mean, it's a perfect spot. And then the CO2 pools down there. So a ladder goes all the way down, and then we'll put a filter down there. And that should solve most of our problems with CO2 buildup. So the only thing we need for that is the filter itself. If you check out the carbon skimmer, you have a intake and output. So the intake is clean water and the output is dirty water. So it will put out polluted water, but now we just built a polluted water filtration system. So that's why I waited until this was done. So carbon skimmer is going to go down there. Just like that. Which means power is going to run down there. And then the liquid intake pipe. And the output pipe. And that will solve our pretty much our CO2 problem as long as we have fresh water in the system. Now, it's possible... This is not exactly a closed loop. It's like a close-ish loop. I'll lock it. It's possible I'll need to introduce more water into the system, but because I'm not really farming with water, most of the water is just consumed through research, which means we have a fairly water-efficient colony as far as colonies go. Grand Void, thank you for the resub. Does the size or shape of the CO2 pool matter? No, not really. All that really matters, I would say, is that you have a too wide shaft to it. Because if you have gases on top of one another, they can't pass through one another. They get, like, blocked. But a too wide shaft means oxygen can go, like, left and CO2 can go right. And that way it can, like, settle out. So as long as you have a too wide shaft down to, like, where it pools, you're fine. That should be fine. So it's going to pool here and get cleared. And CO2 is heavier than oxygen, so like just have it be on the lowest part of your base of the area that you care to breathe in. So I think, oh, we haven't gone up there yet. Let's make this a higher priority for now, because we get some free oxygen getting in here. This is like a bunch of oxalite sublimators that are like max pressure. And that will save us power and algae. And then we'll work down here. Once we have a airlock liquid lock set up, I will then mine a tunnel over to the sand to get filtration medium so that we can start running the water sieve and running the deodorizer. So if we take a look at the gas overlay, the black is carbon dioxide, the green is polluted oxygen, which we have a little bit in, mostly around the bathroom areas because of the old like sink and toilet setups. And then the light blue is oxygen. So in this overlay, you can actually see the carbon dioxide settling out pretty easily, but it would struggle to settle out if it was only a one wide vertical shaft. So a 2 wide vertical shaft helps it to settle down here. Our entire bathroom is now like CO2'd. So the other thing is like down here, this isn't high pressure oxygen. So the carbon dioxide will very quickly flow into this area, because this is low pressure and will be displaced and pushed upwards. So even without CO2 filtering, you'll see the carbon dioxide that has pooled around our bathrooms will dissipate quick, or will settle out and lower quickly. Meaning if I just do this much, you'll see a big effect. But there we go. Here's the sublimators. And as a result, we have a lot more oxygen being put into the system. Look you, thank you for the resub too. Now, I am nowhere near the capacity to be able to make, like, Atmo suits, but I'm going to set it up in such a way that we have the area for Atmo suits once I have access to that tier. But we can start researching our way to it. That wouldn't hurt. So Atmo suits puts your dupes into a, oxygenated suit that is protected from the elements for the most part. Like, you can't, like, go swimming in magma exactly, but, like, everywhere else is fine. And we'll get in there. The other thing is I need to decide exactly where the upper liquid lock and suit dock goes. Probably here looks to be a good spot. And then everything in between, a suit dock here and a suit dock here, everything in between will be our, like, base where we care about temperature, oxygen, etc. And everything outside we don't really care about. Sandstone, I guess? Thanks. Skills. Shield. Let's give you... Electrical engineering. This is exactly what I was referring to. The CO2 is now settling down, and then the oxygen in there is getting displaced and pushed up, and there will be a the bathroom will be breathable soon. But Macho's about to get the all of the requirements for the CO2 scrubber done anyway. That's coming. Another thing to consider, if we want, like, free food, digging our way out to where the figs are and just auto-harvesting wild figs, not a bad thing to do. So I'm going to do that here. This will, because it could potentially pull CO2 here, but because we don't, like, frequent that area, I don't care. It's not going to hurt anything if that becomes all CO2. You have food poisoning, don't you? Yep. Have fun with that. The thing is, even with food poisoning, morale's, like, not an issue. Because I have such a morale-focused initial setup. With a great hall, a barracks, a nice decor, you know, a washroom. They should be totally fine. Favorite DLC, Anoni? Truth be told, I don't love any of them. I don't think any of them are like a must-have that I would absolutely have to play, like incorporate into every time I play the game. I think they're all kind of like okay. Some are worse than others. So if I had to pick a favorite, it'd be Bionics, only because it's Bionic dupes are very versatile, where you can just like install different software systems into them, and that way, if you have like mega projects, you can just shove a bunch of like construction and digging, you know, whatever cassettes, for lack of a better term, I forget what it's called, into them, and then if you know all of a sudden you need, you know, a bunch of farming, you can retool all your dupes that way, which makes it a lot easier to deal with like mega projects. But the Bionic dupes are also somewhat uncompelling to me. So although I like it, I don't think I don't think any of them are. It's not like other games where like I can't imagine playing RimWorld without the DLCs. It's like I can definitely imagine playing Oxygen Not Glue without the DLCs. Hope that answers the question. Alright, let's go ahead. What are you waiting? Oh, no power. Okay, I think the CO2 scrubber is all set, and we're just like waiting on power. The other thing I could do here is... This looks a little weird, but it will help to keep CO2 from settling in here by just making a, you know, a elevated section. So that we can pick the figs without suffocating. Alright, there we go. With the gas overlay, bathroom is getting breathable. It's only going to get better from here. And the CO2 scrubber is scrubbing away. Okay, what I want to do next is build the area for a suit dock and get sand. Instead of the rock filtration, I'm just going to build the suit dock area anyway. So the way the suit dock works, you know, I might just wait for me to get the associated research and just do some tidying up and digging out the other suit dock spot on the other side, because I intend to have the top dock there. Ooh, that's a big obsidian boulder. Oh, there is a infectious polluted oxygen vent. Oh, Lord. Right there. If you're wondering how I did that, if you hit priority emergency, it will tell you what has been set to a top emergency priority as a way to, like, cheese what the vents are. There's also a saltwater geyser there, which erupts near boiling saltwater. Just below us looks like another obsidian boulder and polluted oxygen zone. And I'm just checking the map to see if there's any other interesting things. We do see some new biomes, so let me explain this. Dew drippers. Dew dripper is a cultivatable plant. So in the Prehistoric Planet Pack, it has a lot of stuff that is bleachstone and chlorine specific. So a dew dripper can be crushed, or dew drips can be crushed into brackine. Brackine can be frozen, can make brack wax, can be drank in your water cooler. You can create brine out of it. You can put it through you can make brackine through pulverizers, etc., etc. There's a lot of different ways to get brackine and to make brackine. Originally it was like the gassy moos, and that only comes with the space age. And the dew drippers, they require not too much air pressure, but pretty cold temperatures. And that's true of a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I would say is critical for, like, making atmosuits and the like is a lot of the... Which I find interesting, because, like, when I think prehistoric, I think warm, not cold, but regardless. So this is a cold-loving plant that makes those dew drips, and the dew drips can be pulverized and are also a food source for these guys, the dartles. So dartles eat dew drips and excrete bleachstone and chlorine gas. So this is what I'm talking about with the chlorine gas. A lot of things are based upon chlorine gas. And these are preyed upon by rexes, which is a different critter. Their comfortable range, of course, is quite cold. Livable range is a little bit more tolerant, you know, up to boiling and down to like -100°C, but still, you'd probably want them in the comfort range, which is like colder than room temperature down to -40. And they eat dew drips and excrete bleachstone. So one of the things I don't really want to do in this is I don't want to do a lot of ranching. I don't love having to deal with like if we're trying, well, I'll back up. If we're trying to blow up this giant asteroid that is going to kill us, tinkering with like ranching is just a waste of time in the scheme of things. So I'm going to do the bare necessities for ranching, which is why none of my duplicates bother with ranching. But these guys are prey for the rexes, which is probably the only ranching I'm going to be doing. And the reason is, the rex's tail feathers can be shielded for feather fiber, and feather fiber is what we will likely need to make suits. So an atmosuit is refined metals, and feather fiber equals suit. So we will have to tame some rexes and feed them just enough to shear them, but because there's only like 3 dupes, I really only need maybe 6 suits at most, or so that's not a lot of feather fibers. And the rexes are also found in the same biomes that the dartles are found. So they're going to be found in these like cold, brine ice, bleachstone biomes. And that's going to be one thing I'm going to want to find. So I would say that's probably, once I get like filtration medium set up, that's probably the next best thing for us to push towards, is to find rexes. There we go. To pay the bills, max out an entire skill tree. Thank you. So most of the carbon dioxide has been settled out. Some of it is stuck. It's kind of funny that I did airflow tiles and I locked the door, but you know, whatever. But most of it is settled out so that this is breathable, and will be the southern dock, and then we'll have the top dock there. Where is Macho? Oh, he's probably digging up. Yep, he just finished digging. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Dino Armageddon, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow dupes.